wanted to talk about today, and I know you're going to be like, yeah, let's do that, was talking about language and how we use it to build rapport or to build individuality. Now, how this came
Yes.
about was I was doing a little bit of research, and what they started talking about was bringing up accents and how do accents stay in someone's dialect, and what's the reason that you can have someone, I don't know, who's say British, who's lived in Australia for, I don't know how long, Adam.
12 years.
12 years.
Oh, sorry.
And
Let me say that again. 12 years, Ali. Near 12 years.
12 years, mate, and yet still sounds like he has his pinky finger right up your there, don't you, darling?
Yeah, so it depends who one's talking to. What?
What? And the funny thing about that as well is that when we are in such good rapport as well,
Hmm.
that I find my language, my pronunciation improves when I'm talking to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, without, yeah,
Right.
mate. Suddenly it just changes
Fuck
again.
yeah.
Fuck yeah, it does. Once you become conscious of it, right, then you revert back to, I guess, what's comfortable.
Hmm.
However, what causes that?
Well,
And
it's very true, because I'm from a place called Norwich which is
Norwich,
in a Norwich,
Norwich.
Norwich, which no one's ever heard of, but they say it's not the end of the world, but you can see it from there. Um, and it's a country, it's a city, but it's a small city, and it's a very country English country accent. So if I get on the phone with my best friend over there, like immediately we start talking like that. How are you getting on, my darling? Are you all right? Yeah. Oh, I've been ever so busy over here. We start
Yeah,
talking like that. Just go straight back into my home accent. And
just
that's
like
that
that, right?
just like that. Yeah. And if I'm
Mm.
talking to my buddies in London, I'm like, all right, mate, how you getting on? Yeah, no, yeah, I've been ever so busy over here. Yeah, yeah. Start talking like that all the time. Immediately into a London slang. But my parents are from London, and that London accent I've grown up with.
Mm.
And then sort of my accent now, it being English, is just fairly just normal, I would say. But if I go home to England and I talk like this normally, people will say, "Oh, you're so Australian now."
Which, like, you sound so
Which,
un-Australian to me.
yeah, but
Australian to me is
it's
very
amazing
vocal.
the words, but the words I can
Mm.
use would be quite, like, oh, I need to go. I can't think of any now, randomly.
Just
Um,
popped you on the
but
spot. It's all good.
but yeah, just when you say, "Oh, what are you doing this Arvo?" That's a very very Aussie thing to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Servo.
Um, servo. Oh, yeah, just nip to the servo. Whereas in my hometown, I say we're going up we're going up the garage. We go up everywhere. We're going up the city, or we're going up the garage to get some
Very
bits and
Australian
bobs.
sit down. Although I suppose you do still head up
Going
it,
down the going
but
down the
you go down
servo,
the street,
going down everywhere.
down the
Oh, going
road.
down the shops and going,
Yeah, yeah.
going down and wash my car. You
Down
know,
to Matt's place,
yeah.
down to
So
Daz's.
yeah, and it does always it's always fascinated me.
Mm.
Um, I used to love it just to do impressions of people, really, just and it's great when you're doing storytelling, because all of a sudden if you there was this wee Scottish guy, and
It allows you to
it's
put that
all
character into things.
color.
However,
But you're getting rapport, but you're gaining rapport.
and that's the thing, it's all about the meaning we give it, because I've come across people, excuse me, um, like I grew up in Darwin in the Northern Territory, and I spent a lot of time with the Indigenous people in the Northern Territory. And and so I found when I would spend time with them, my English changed to almost like a Creole kind of mix, um,
Wow.
so that we had rapport, built trust, and understood each other, rather than what's been the norm in a lot of societies is English is the strong, prevalent language. And so the smaller, uh, the smaller languages and dialects, get drowned out in the noise of English.
Mm.
And so there's actually a real sign of respect that can be taken from someone who is changing their dialect or changing little things about the way they talk, like their pronunciation, the vocab, the speed of their speech, stuff like that. If they're changing that in order to sound more alike, that can be taken as a sign of respect. And yet I've also come across people who have found it offensive, thinking that you're mimicking, you're trying to be like someone from a different
Mm.
dialect or something. And so it
And of
comes
course,
down
really,
to,
that really we are doing things like, it is mimicking, isn't
it
it?
is mimicking.
Matching and mirroring,
Yeah.
is a part of gaining rapport. It's a key thing.
Yeah. And so if you look at it, that on one respect, we change the way we speak so that we are more matching and mirroring the person we're talking to, so that we're more alike, so that we have rapport, so that we understand each other. So what about the opposite? And this was one of the things that came up, which I mentioned before, when someone, maintains their accent when live in a different country, different language or whatever. And so on one part, you could take it as like, because there can be different reasons, right? So you might have someone who purposefully is making sure they speak differently to whoever's talking to them because there's something they don't like about them, because they don't want to be in rapport with that person. So they maintain difference in order to, make space and create division. However, there's also the way of thinking about it that someone maintains an accent, say, because it's part of their individual identity.
Mm.
And so it's part of what makes them them. So it's important for them, to hang on to it. So here's my question, Adam. When we talk together and you become quite English to my ears, is it because you freaking
Yeah.
detest me? Or
No, I couldn't possibly understand what you mean.
have no idea what you're talking
No
about?
idea. No idea, dear.
Have you seen there's a show that's been around for a while called Black Comedy? And
Oh, I'm aware, yes.
yeah. They do it just perfectly. It's so funny and they're comic geniuses. They really are. And they do this brilliantly, and especially when it comes to, what they'd call like a coconut and wiggers. And that's the people who are, it seems, attempting to put on an accent to be accepted, you know? And I would get absolutely slammed for that so much because I worked so much and lived alongside Indigenous people in the Northern Territory that as soon as I get around Indigenous people, I feel like there's just an immediate sort of unspoken rapport in my mind. And I think, oh, cool, I know these people. Truth be told, I don't. That's me just putting everyone in one basket. However, I found my language used to flick back really quickly. And the amount of people that I inadvertently offended because of something that was quite unconscious at the time. I'm very conscious of it now, but you know, it's all how you take it though, isn't it?
So why did they get offended?
Because it was seen as like I was making fun. I was disrespecting. I
I
was
see.
Whereas the way that I was speaking is the way that I would speak when I lived among the Indigenous families that I was working alongside.
you just learned that.
That's it.
Yeah.
You adjust, and that's what this learning I was doing was all about. It's sort of saying, well, maybe we don't have separate languages in our head. What we have is one big collection of different words, and depending on who we're talking to, we make adjustments
Well,
so that we
absolutely. Well, because it all forms, because it's not just words, is it? It
yeah.
is. So we can change keywords and key descriptions of things because that's just the local linguistics around what the meaning that's trying to be conveyed. But it's so much more than that. It's got it's the sound of it, and
Oh, yeah.
and then how you say it. So if I'm talking like that from my hometown, I talk a bit like that. It's a bit like that, really. You look how my body changes.
Yeah.
Um, if I get into that, not everybody starts. It's not a city of people walking around going like that, but majority of things, I talk like that because I talking up
Yeah.
in the higher register. So the
Mm.
throat and everything goes up in the air like that. And for those people that are just listening, I'm just basically wagging my head around and hanging my chin up.
For
Um,
those who don't have the visual, I feel so
don't
sorry
have
for
the
you.
video, so get on Facebook and watch the episode and all that from there. But it's very you know it's just a key part of it, isn't it?
Mm.
Accent is really the sound of all that stuff. Accent is the spin on a word.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the word. It's the accent is that extra layer to the word to
It's the
sound completely
flavor.
different. The
It's the
flavor, yeah. I mean,
flavor of the word. I like that.
was it was it you I was talking to most likely about the Maori
Yeah.
language actually has you know kind of one way to several ways to say the same word. Was it you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Use the same word, but if you say it with a slightly different pitch and roll and tone, it can mean something completely
Something
different.
completely different. Exactly. Speaking of though, now you've opened up another little, door in this mind of mine. Words as well. You can have offense based on if you have enough rapport with the person and on the meaning that they give it. Just like we were talking about whether, someone gets offended by you changing your accent or changing the way you speak. If they get offended, it's on them. But
Yeah.
a word that I've used that really taught me a big lesson on just in Australia, the various meanings that it can have.
What is the word?
The word is mole.
Mo-
It's not that bad. Well, not in my head anyway. And
You mole.
yes, I always
For
thought that
being
was
such a mole.
hilarious. I
Yeah.
wouldn't think twice of, that if you stood me up or something, I might say, "Listen here, mole. I'm not here to be at your beck and call, mole."
Absolutely. Mole.
And
I think moles are cute.
me too.
Bless
And
them.
it harks back for me to an old show by the comedy company in which there was a main character on there who used that term sort of all the time. It was really funny. And yet, once again, Ali the offender, the triggerer, came out. Is that a word? A triggerer? Yeah.
Yeah, it is now.
Yeah. And I said to someone in loving jest, game on, mole. And she didn't speak to me for like weeks and, unfriended me on Facebook. That's serious when they do that, right? And
Oh.
I was totally ghosted. And I thought, what have I done? I don't understand.
Oh.
So that's my how to break rapport in one word,
Right.
or
Yeah.
maybe three. Game
Because
on,
this
mole.
and then Joe, you just hit the point on the head. we do all these things to gain rapport because it's, we're always looking to, all behavior has a positive intent, right? So we're always,
Yeah.
trying to connect. It's that connection, but to break connection, it's actually pretty easy. What you got to
Right.
do is call someone a mole.
That's
you know,
it. Maybe
or
we
or
should.
even like I was watching a video about um African American words and culture. They say bitch is between is a term of endearment. Bitch, like damn, bitch, 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 bitch. But
Yeah.
it's not taken in a. But if you say it a certain way, you're like, you bitch me. Um,
Tension.
same word, different, but it can have multiple meanings. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite words.
Bitch.
Yeah, I love that.
It's so good, so
Actually,
universal.
it's so it's highly universal. But again, you can use it, but you can break rapport super easy with
You
that.
know what? Um, so we've had a lot of fun already today talking
Yeah.
about we started down a bit of a hole, didn't we? A good fun hole. There's plenty of those around. Let's not
But it is
let's not
Friday.
I'm thinking, why don't we come back next Friday and actually really focus in on rapport
Yep, great.
and
I think
how
I think it's
how we
all
can build
it's
it, how we can break it, what it's good
let's
for,
do that.
where we've screwed it up, and all
Yep.
that sort of stuff. What do you reckon?
100%. I think it's great because really it's the first thing that we do when we meet new people, when we negotiating with people at work. We want to go for you've got to get
Yeah.
into rapport to be able to get the other person, the other side,
Mm.
to do anything. So
That'll be
including
fun
breaking
because
rapport to get them to bog off.
so let's do that. I think that'll be heaps of fun.
Yep.
We'll pull that apart next week
Deal.
and get it
Sold.
in. All right, so it's a date. I'll meet you here, same bat time, same bat channel, all of that
Beautiful.
next
Love it.
Friday. Okay?
All right. Speak to
Bye
you
for
later.
now.
Bye.
Mwah.